The Hawks lose 5-4 in the shootout to the Winnipeg Jets in their home finale in the final games for Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez. We'll wrap up the loss next on the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Greg Boyson. Mario's that away. Getting ready for postgame media, and will join us in about a half hour. We thank you for being here. Hawks lose 5-4 in the shootout to the Central Division winning and potential President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets in a very good, very exciting game. Do us a favor and hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're catching up on the podcast, do us a favor and follow or subscribe on your favorite app. And since it's the weekend, how about taking 30 seconds for a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? That would go a long, long way. Greg, last home game of the year, and you got to respect and appreciate the effort the Hawks put forth in this game. It was solid. They were right there with the best team in the West, and took it as far as they can go.
Yeah, the first period, they got a couple lucky breaks. They were outplayed severely, but, Connor Hellebuyck decides to go do his Ben Bishop impression from the 2015 Stanley Cup Final twice, not once, but twice. Didn't get away with it the second time. And then the power play goal by Bedard, thing of beauty. And we kind of looked at each other after that first period, like, so the Hawks are losing this one 6-2, right?
It sure felt like that.
And
yes.
then the Jets come out, score twice in the second, and you're like, yep. They go up 3-2. Yep. Exactly how we thought this was going to go. But then they come back. They get the quick little game time goal from Ryan Donato. Frank Nazar pots one, who had a awesome game. We'll talk a lot about him today. And then he's just, the Jets are the top team in the NHL for a reason. But hats off to the Blackhawks.
They fought.
It's an emotional day today, with Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez, two guys that are beloved in that locker room. Alex Vlasic, who's been on this very show a lot this season, is kind of been mentored by Alec Martinez, and we all know about Pat Maroon and Lucas Reichel, how everybody likes. I mean, just you look at the end of that game, the Jets lined up the entire team to shake their two hands, both of their hands. That says a lot about
That's
these
6 Stanley
guys.
Cups right there.
So I know this morning when I put the lines out, I had a lot of people like, why is Alec Martinez playing? Just wait.
Yeah, now you know.
And
right.
even if that wasn't his last game, you still do right by guys like that. Veteran guys that are beloved in locker rooms, you do right by them, because the hockey world is a very small, tight-knit world. People talk. And if you screw over a beloved veteran player, other veteran players hear that and decide they don't ever want to play for you.
Yeah, you got to give those guys their moments. And look,
so it must mean TJ Brody's not liked.
And look,
nobody's
well, he's
saying,
not retiring. He'll be bought out this summer, and he'll play somewhere else, maybe. And
maybe he might be
California Penal League. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be here, I don't think. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad they did it. It's good to give those guys their props in a final home game. Both their families are there. That's how you want it to go. And I think, you ask guys like, how would you want this to end? That's it. And a cool note, Pat Maroon's first career game and final career game at the United Center.
Yeah. He
Very
talked
cool.
about that this morning after morning skate. That was brought up, and he kind of had a little laugh like, it's funny how long careers can be like that, and he was a guy this year, beginning of the year. A lot of people, even towards the end when he'd be in the lineup, a lot of people like, why are we playing this guy? the team loves him.
Yeah.
Every chance they had to give him the tool belt after a game, they gave it to him. They love what he brings. He's an ultimate team player. Alec Martinez is that way too, not as vocal or as, imposing as Pat Maroon, but those two guys were not brought in this year to be the best players on the ice. They were brought in to be the leaders in the locker room, and they did exactly what they were brought in to do.
I mean, look, when this thing turns around and we are 3-4 years from now and the Hawks are in the playoffs and are playing well, and these young guys that were just seeing the beginnings of their career are asked, like, hey, you think back at your first playoff game, those guys are going to talk about what Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez meant to them as young players or as rookies. We are, I'm pointing the thumb at myself, and I'm speaking to all of us, guilty of looking at hockey players as stat cards, as, hockey cards, where it's all about numbers, all about metrics. Personality matters, leadership matters, and I think there's this overgeneralized thought about leadership means you rally the troops and get them to play hard. No, it's about setting an example and helping young players through the adjustment from amateur to pro or from Rockford to Chicago, whatever it might be, and just being an ear for those guys to be like, man, I have not scored in 3 or 4 games. Pat Maroon, what did you do when this happened in your career? Hey, man, you just got to, whatever it is,
right?
That stuff goes such a long way, and
there's a lot more.
It's worth the investment they made in those two.
There's a lot more to being a professional hockey player than just showing up 82 nights a year and playing for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially for some of these kids that are coming in. Connor Bedard's never lived on his own before. He's never had to do any of this stuff. He's never had to pay a cell phone bill.
Right.
Or
make mac and cheese.
Or figure out how to get DirecTV hooked up. Hopefully not Comcast if you want to watch himself play. But these guys don't know how to do that. They literally need adults in the room to help them become functioning adults.
That's true.
I mean, remember when you were 19 and in college on your own for the first time? You couldn't.
Idiot.
Yeah. So not much has changed for me.
No, same here.
You need guys like that. That's why there's guys in the AHL that are career veterans. You look at your Brent Seanies and guys like that. They serve a purpose along the path for some of these guys. The only thing I didn't like today with the Maroon and Martinez is, and a couple people have said in the chat too, but I said this back in the first period. I was like, if this game goes to a shootout,
yes,
I want Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez to be your first two shooters. Who cares?
Yeah.
That second point is not going to prevent you from anything.
And like you said, they can shoot it wide too.
Alec Martinez could have missed the net too.
Yes.
You didn't put him out there and you still lost. So you should have put him out there number 1 and number 2 and then let Bedard shoot third. Have some fun. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't think anybody on that bench or in that arena would have been upset if that would have happened. But it was a nicely done day. Both players got really cool video tributes. Anze Kopitar sent in a video message. I mean, that just goes to show you what these guys are. They may not be great hockey players anymore, but they're great people and great teammates, and that's what matters. And the Hawks played hard knowing it was those guys' last game. They wanted to win that game for those guys. And they played great. There were many times where this season they fold. Maybe that has to do with the new makeup of this team, more young players that don't know any better and just keep playing hard.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of that, a little bit of the Maroon and Martinez last game. Whatever the combination work, they get credit for. They could have easily packed it in after that second period. They could have easily packed it in after that third goal, but they fought back. And we should mention that they had scored on 5 straight shots at one point because they scored on all 4 of their third period shots in Boston. They opened the game they scored on their first shot, and they scored another goal on their third shot. So they scored 6 goals on 7 shots. That's insane.
That's crazy. That's got to be some kind of record. Just one little note on Pat Maroon. I've listened to him on a lot of podcasts lately because I feel like anytime someone like him talks, no matter where it is, I want to hear because he might say something about the team. But he mentioned when he went from Philly, which was really tumultuous for him, to Anaheim, the first guy to welcome him was Teemu Selanne. Teemu Selanne didn't have to go out of his way to welcome a Pat Maroon to the Anaheim Ducks. That is a first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great in his own category in Anaheim is a star stud player. And he took the time to welcome in a guy who had been through a tough first stop in his NHL career and make that transition to Anaheim better for him. And the rest is history, right? That stuff, it goes so far and it matters so much. It's, I don't know. And one thing I want to say too about how you said the Hawks wanted to win this game for Pat Maroon and Martinez, and I believe that. But I think what we've seen with the fight from the team, I'm actually writing it for Blackhawks Beat. I think it'll be out Monday. Is that the roster battles for next season? They've already started. You already have Kaiser, Del Mastro, Korchinski, Levshinov, Rinzel competing now for spots next year, right? And Oliver Moore got his chance on the top line, wants to prove he belongs. Frank Nazar wants to prove he's a top 6 guy. Like, there's so many guys on this team right now that are trying to make their statement for next season. And I think that's why you see where you would be tempted at this point in the season to check out. No one is checked out here. Ryan Donato, 31st goal of the year. He's not checked out. He's a veteran, but he's not checked out. He's trying to make more money on his next contract.
Every goal.
So, I'm not saying he's a money motivated guy, but like, there's a lot to play for here. Nick Foligno's going to be back as captain. Philip Kurashev is fighting for his Blackhawks life. Lucas Reichel should be. Right? Like, there's a lot on the line for all the guys on this roster right now. So don't lose sight of that. Like, I really think that's an important thing to keep in mind, because I thought about this when Del Mastro got sent down yesterday. I think the initial reaction from a lot of people was, well, he's been playing really well. He's been super consistent. I agree with that. And I think part of it is that the Hawks had seen enough from Ethan Del Mastro to say, okay, we know what we've got in him. Ethan Del Mastro, to me, is a guy who's on the NHL roster next year. Game 1, you plug him in your bottom 6 and let him cook and see how he evolves, right? I think they sent him to Rockford because that is a known quantity. Check that box, Ethan Del Mastro, NHL ready, and then let the other guys. Now that Martinez is out, you can expect Korchinski back in for the final 2 and see where these guys are. And it's been an evaluation process really since the trade deadline. Do you realize the trade deadline was March 7th, right?
Yeah.
TJ Brody has not played since March 1st. Like, that trade deadline began the evaluation process.
And the only reason he played on March 1st is because Seth Jones got traded that day.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to play, and then Seth Jones got traded.
Yes.
And he had to play. Getting Del Mastro down back to the AHL, get ready for the playoffs. By the way, the Ice Hogs have clinched their spot in the playoffs.
Yep.
Thanks to Iowa losing. They're still playing in the third period. So they'll play the Wolves in the play-in series. Should be fun. But yeah, get him ready for that. They are, next year's training camp is going to be a heck of a lot of fun because there are so many spots up for grabs. Rinzel looks like he's not going anywhere.
I wouldn't think so.
Levshinov probably needs a little more time in the AHL.
I would give Levshinov the Nazar treatment.
Yeah, let him go down there until he tells you, I don't belong here anymore. It'll be interesting to see how he comes in, what he does this summer.
Yep.
How much bigger he gets and stronger.
Firmer.
You talk about Del Mastro. You have Kaiser. We've already forgotten about Nolan Allen, who was still when you look at like rookie defenseman, is still in like the top 5 in like games played and stuff like that. So it's an embarrassment of riches on the back end that they're not all going to play here. Not because they're not good enough, but just because there's not enough spots.
Right.
You're probably going to bring in another veteran this summer. I don't think you can just have just Connor Murphy.
No, especially
with his injury.
Back.
Yeah, like his. So you're probably going to bring in another veteran, which is okay.
Kyle Davidson has shown the knack to be able to, if there's a log jam, he works it out. Yeah. He finds a way to figure it out. If he can trade Peter Mrazek and get an asset back, I think pretty much anything can be moved at this point.
For
as
sure.
long as Steve Yzerman is still a GM.
Well, it was just official. The Red Wings officially eliminated from the playoffs.
What?
Yeah.
But they have the Kaner. How could that happen?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's been a long time since Patrick Kane's been in the playoffs.
That's crazy. All right, we're going to hit the break zone, come back with your super chats and a whole bunch more here on a CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. See, screwed up, Sarah. Presented by Bet365. And speaking of Bet365, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. I can do that. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. How about their NHL early payout offer? You get a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app, use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. And breaking news from Bet365, you will now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose if you're a new customer. So sign up, use that code CHGO365, deposit 10 smackaroos, place a bet for 5 rubles, and get $150 in cold cash and bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, and this is in-app only. Important note there. And it is starting to finally feel like summer. Not quite summer, but like 60s today. Sunny. Get squared away from our friends at Shady Rays. They're going to help you get in the right frame of mind. Get it? Frame like glasses.
Oh, that with the
I like that. With their premium polarized
right over my head all season long.
that won't break the bank. Shady Rays, as you know by now, is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't worry. They've got the most insane protection plan in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement program. And if you don't love them, you will. But if you don't, exchange them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. CHGO viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with the code CHGO. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So use code CHGO today at shadyrays.com.
I'll be bringing my Shady Rays to Las Vegas this weekend.
Yes, you will.
Is
that this weekend?
It's this weekend.
Damn. I'm glad I have this weekend off.
Big Dave and I are heading out on Friday.
It's going to be awesome. First of all, I'm super excited for both of you. I know he's been to several. This is your first. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. So make sure you're following along with Greg and Big Dave.
Yep, we're going to be doing some shows from the stadium swim at Circa, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
If you see
Derek from PHNX is going to be out there.
Oh, nice.
He'll jump on with us. So yeah, who knows? There might be some surprises along the way.
If you see Bailey, slip her my number.
Sure.
Ooh. Okay. Young Dangle God with $1. He says, decided to consolidate my Bring Kaner Back super chats and become a diehard today. Nice. Already ordered my free shirt. All that being said, hashtag Bring Kaner Back 2025.
Well, all I can say is it's about time.
That they bring Kaner back?
No, that he became a diehard. Maybe if you became a diehard in December, I wouldn't have had to miss all those shows. Just
See?
Just saying.
Yeah, man. Jeez. Well, Dominic taking care of it with a $20 super chat. He says, in the chance we win the lottery, do go with best available and Schaefer. Assuming Lev, Schnauber, Rinzel, Vlasic, Korchinski, and Murphy are locked in, do we trade Allen or Del Mastro and or Crevier? I also don't think Misa at 1 is crazy. See, that's the thing is, I don't know if Schaefer is for sure the number 1. He's had like massive injury problems this year. So I don't think he's like a Bedard or Celebrini level number 1. I think if San Jose gets 1, they're taking him. I think if the Hawks get number 1, they can either trade down if they like a handful of those forwards.
Right.
Or they can take whoever they want.
Right. There are many reasons the Blackhawks don't want to win the lottery this year. First and foremost, it means they can't win it next year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they're planning on being the second best odds to win it, but, that would be okay next year if they finish ninth worst and then still get the number one overall pick, just so the conspiracy theorists can lose their mind.
Oh.
And I can have...
To have the cousins play together?
Oh, yeah.
McKenna and Bedard?
Yeah.
It's good marketing.
Hey.
Just put it out in the universe there.
So, and I don't think they want to win it because they don't want to not have to take another defenseman, but if he's the number one and you don't take him, like, I don't know. I don't think they want to have to sell to the fan base that they drafted another defenseman with a top 2 pick. So they want to go at 2 or 3 and have that decision made for them.
I think so too. But then if he does, if the Sharks get one, they're taking him though.
Most likely.
Yeah.
But if the Ducks get one, who knows? All bets are off.
Yeah.
Who knows what that crazy Pat Verbeek's going to do?
Dumbass. McLovin with a $5 super chat says, happy I invested in my Martinez jersey this season while I could. Him and Nazar, Winter Classic, are great in my collection. Congrats to Big Rig and Martinez. It's cool to have like the jersey no one else has.
That was me.
I love that. I'm a big fan of that.
That's why I have a 32 Christopher Stieg in my closet.
Yeah.
I got a Nick Leddy Blackhawks jersey. Nobody has one of those.
No, not even Nick Leddy.
With the 2013 Stanley Cup final patch on it.
I have the one I have with a patch is a Hossa. I have a 2010 Hossa.
The Versteeg has the 2010 patch.
Nice.
I don't have anybody with a 15, but I like getting the jerseys of and Alec Martinez. Alec Martinez is going to be a guy in 10 years. Most people are going to forget played with the Blackhawks.
Yeah, it'll be a fun like trivia jersey.
Probably Pat Maroon too.
And Bruce Miles will find you and take your picture at the United Center.
Yeah, you could be on Bruce Miles' Facebook page in 10 years with that Alec Martinez jersey.
Randy says, wish folks were not so sentimental towards the old guys. I want the Hawks to win. Time for the young guys to lead this team out of the dump. I agree, but I think that's why you need guys like Martinez and Maroon to teach them how to get out of the dump.
Right.
You can't just call up the Ice Hogs and say, go. It doesn't work that way. You need leaders. You need veterans. When Keith and Seabrook and those guys were coming to the league, they had Martin LaPointe and Adrian Aucoin, who were Robert Lang, and like on the ice, they didn't quite work out as the great signings everyone hoped. But all those guys point back to playing with those guys and learning from those guys. It matters. It makes a big difference. So yeah, don't worry, they're retiring, and I think if they do bring in any veterans next year, they're going to be longer term, not guys at the end of their careers.
No, you still have guys like that. You still have Nick Foligno here. Jason Dickinson to a degree is like that. It's going to be an interesting summer. Who knows with this roster, there might be some moves this summer where they come out of left field. Where you're like, whoa, yes. I didn't expect that guy to get traded. Like,
I agree with that.
I think like between the coaching hire and the roster, this is a big year for Kyle Davidson. I don't want to say it's a legacy-defining summer, but it's definitely going to tilt the ice one way or the other.
Yes.
Got to get the coaching hire right. And we'll see where that goes. I think we need to wait a few days to see who's available.
Yeah.
With the season ending next week, you may even have to wait till the end of the first round before you could really... Because
you probably should too.
There's always a coach that loses in the first round that gets fired. Surprising, who knows what's going to happen out there. So you got to wait to see who's available. I know David Carl has a lot, and the reports out there that if he's coming to the NHL, it's got to be the right situation, both financially. That's not going to be a problem for the Blackhawks, and he's got to feel it's a situation where he can win. He's coached so many of these kids at the development program.
But just to be clear, the quote from Elliot Friedman is not to win. He says he's not going to go anywhere where he doesn't see, even if it's a rebuild, the kinds of players that have a path to victory.
Right.
So he mentions rebuild. Even if he goes to a rebuild, he has to see the team as the kind of players that have a path to victory. No matter how negative you are about this Blackhawks season, you have to admit that there is a path to victory for this team with some heady signings and trades and those sort of things. And another great draft pick this year. They're on their way to being good. It's a matter of how good.
I mean, maybe Aiden Thompson is what tilts him over here.
Signed today on a PTO with Rockford.
We'll see what happens. But with that coaching hire, and I'm sure that'll be a topic discussed quite a bit over the next few weeks. Just got to wait for everybody to be on the market before you don't want to rush in and grab one guy and then have an unexpected guy get out there. You're like, damn it.
Yeah.
Really wish we had that guy.
Yeah, you should. It's good to talk to people. It's good to.
Right.
I mean, and look, I know the temptation would be like if you think David Carl is the guy you want, you might have a little bit of fear that someone gets him without you, but it doesn't really work
David
that
Carl's
way anymore.
not.
No one's going to stand. Like, just think about Ben Johnson with the Bears. That took a long time. And I know they were in the playoffs, so it's a little bit different. Right. But, like, it doesn't act. The coaches want to talk to organizations and find the right fit, too.
He's not going to just take the first job offered to him.
I would think not.
He's not going to be like, Flyers on line 1. Yes, click. End of conversation. Like, no, he's going to hear what everybody who wants him has to offer. He's going to get the sales pitch. He's going to get Benny the Bull meeting them at the airport or Tommy Hawk meeting them at the airport.
Worked out well for Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, well, maybe fly him in on a private jet, you stupid billionaires.
Yeah, Southwest, pick your own seat. You're in boarding group B. Why are you signed here? What's wrong with you?
So yeah, lots of stuff to sort out this summer. It's going to be interesting. There's still 2 more games to go.
Yeah, and Ryan Green now eliminated, so who knows what happens there? I would assume he'd do the Thompson route, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna. I mean, if he's playing tonight,
He's not gonna play Monday and Tuesday.
I doubt it. Especially, does he even have a passport to get into Canada?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
So who knows?
Yeah.
It would be fun though if somehow that worked and he made his debut in Montreal Monday because he was drafted was in Montreal, so that'd be kind of a fun full circle moment.
He'll have his chance.
And he also had all of his equipment stolen. I don't remember that story.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He had
the mean streets of Montreal.
Yes, those French Canadian punks stole all his sticks.
It's like when our mutual friend had his car stolen at the Milwaukee.
Well, Milwaukee's known a little more for its crime than Montreal, I think.
Algonquin for the good land, if you didn't know that. One thing I want to talk, we're right up against the break zone, but there's one thing, this is actually a good time for this. The Bedard goal. Great one-timer. It's the shot we've heard about all these years. We've seen it many times. But go watch the pass from Sam Rinzel, who puts it not only right in the wheelhouse, but puts the perfect pace on the puck. He didn't rocket it over to him. He didn't try to sauce pass it to him. The perfect pace, the perfect placement, and all Bedard had to do was tee it up, and it was beautiful. Man, Rinzel is so damn impressive. He's so impressive. And even when he doesn't have a dynamite standout game, tonight was one of it. I know it's a small sample size, but it was one of his more ordinary games. He played 25 minutes tonight. 25-03 for Sam Rinzel, including in overtime.
He's been leading the team on ice the last 3 or 4 games.
He has the absolute trust of this coaching staff. The next closest guy, Bedard, played 23-28. Again, that's a ton of overtime. And those are the only 2 players over 20 minutes in the entire game. Oh, and Vlasic played 22-30. But he played almost 3 more minutes than Alex Vlasic. That's something, man. I know that Frank Saravalli's been talking about he's never playing a game in the AHL, and I've started referring to Frank as the human Kyle Davidson burner. I think he's right. I think number 6 is here to stay. I mean,
he's shown me no reason to send him down to AHL. As a couple of people have pointed out in the chat, Ryan Green is Canadian, so he doesn't need that passport.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's just when you play when he played in the USHL and then Boston, you forget that
he's American as heart, gang.
Yeah, he knew what was better for him. He knows if he wants to win a Stanley Cup, he goes American.
That's right. All right, we got to hit the break zone one more time. Mario is a little bit delayed because I guess they must have had a post game sort of a deal.
Meeting.
Yeah, find our identity. But yeah, he'll be joining us as soon as he's able. He'll have video and audio and comments from the locker room. So stick around. We're going to hit the break zone one more time here on CHGO Blackhawks, powered by Bet365. And just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. And Empire Today, they can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts. They're dedicated flooring professionals, and they focus on flooring every single day. You've been to those big box stores, the big aisles. They've got a million things. You're hauling these materials home. Then you got to find someone to install it. And you got to coordinate everything yourself. That doesn't happen at Empire Today. They're your best bet for a new floor. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they'll be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game. They'll pick the flooring and the right colors for your space. They'll bring it right to you, so you see how it looks with your furniture and in your house. That is the convenience you get from Empire Today. You'll also get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day because you are ready for some new floors. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yep, you heard me right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for full details. And whatever the sport, hockey, golf, basketball, darts, whatever, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
A little note here from, speaking of the aforementioned Frank Cervalli.
Yes.
In his tweet congratulating Western Michigan on their first ever NCAA men's hockey national title, which is pretty cool. I always like it when a new program comes up and gets a national title. Some other NCAA related news: the Oilers are expected to sign undrafted free agent and Boston U's leading scorer Quinn Hudson.
One of the Hudson boys.
The oldest, I believe, of Lane and Cole.
Yes.
Cole Hudson, yes.
Yep.
The interesting note is Boston, he kind of confirms a report earlier that BU is expected to land transfers, including Sasha Boisvert.
Yeah.
That was, I believe, first reported by our pal Cam Robinson. Had that.
Yeah, that was like a month ago almost.
A couple weeks ago. It only seems like a month ago, but yeah. So certainly sounds like Sasha Boisvert is going to go to Boston University. So he goes from one really good hockey program to another really good hockey program. So I look forward to him playing in the Frozen Four next year because, Boston will get there.
Yes.
Because that's what Jay Pandolfo does.
They just kind of live there. All right, we got to tell you about the 4th star nominees for the game. First off, the 3 stars, they were Cole Perfetti with the shootout winner. Nice move by him. And they gave the 2 and 1 stars to Alec Martinez and Pat Maroon, which is a very cool move. So your 4-star nominees, Connor Bedard had a goal and an assist, 3 shots on goal, won 3 and lost 3 of his faceoffs. Frank Nazar, a goal and assist, 5 shots on goal, 7 shot attempts, won 60% of his faceoffs. And the other nominee we had for 4-star of the game was Joe Veleno, who just had a very solid contribution on the 4th line. Played 11:07, 4 shots on goal in 11 minutes, 2 hits, 5 shot attempts, and a block shot. So solid 4th line effort from him. Almost scored. Hellebuck got that pad out, but I've really liked Veleno's game since they traded for him. He's been more often than not effective. Check that box too. 4th line center for the short term, Joe Veleno.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy you can put out there to start next year, and you know what you're getting out of him. Solid in both ends. Not a superstar by any means, but he's a guy that knows his role, has accepted his role, will go out and perform his role. He won't try and do any more or any less. You need guys like that on your team as some of these younger guys start to figure out what their roles are going to be.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be your superstar scoring wingers. There's roles to be had, and he already fits one.
I see we're getting Pat Maroon Is it ready to go? Yeah, let's hear from Pat Maroon after his final game in the NHL. This sent by Mario.
I know what the emotions are. I can see them. But,
can't take any of my answers, Patty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful to play this game, and I'm grateful for all the organizations that I was a part of. Grateful for my teammates that were along the way, the trainer, everyone that was a part of it. Honestly, I'm foggy right now. I don't know what to say.
Is it overwhelming? Just the emotions?
No, it sucks because this is all we did, and I'm so happy that I got to share with Marty tonight. A guy that's a big time player, scored big time goals, hell of a hockey player, having your 3 Stanley Cups. There's no better person I would like to spend it with. We have 6 cups between the two of us, and I know how much hard work he put into his career, and the ups and downs he's been through, but most importantly, he's just a great family man.
how did you like the way the team celebrated you tonight?
Really special. First, I'd like to thank the Blackhawks organization for doing that for me tonight. Made it really special, and not only for me, for Marty also, and the ovation from the fans. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've only spent 6 months here, and it was a great send-off, and I can't thank the Chicago Blackhawks organization for doing that. They didn't have to do anything, right? They were just players that like to play the game that we love, and we're competitors every single day, and we go out there and try to do everything we can to win hockey games. So thank you.
What did you think of the Jets sticking around to congratulate you?
I said before to Panger, I'm not a Hall of Famer. I'm just a guy that just loves putting skates on and playing the game I'm used to playing and loving the game. And thank you to the Jets for sticking around and being a part of that, and giving us love and showing support. And it means a lot to me and Marty. It sucks, but you know, you close the book and then you have to start again, right? So I'm just happy I got to be a part of it. I can't thank the Jets enough for sticking around and going for stuff.
You were brought here in part to kind of steer these guys in the right direction. What do you think about the younger guys you encountered here and their future?
The future's bright. They got some really good talent in this room. I think you got to enjoy this process. You got to be a competitor every single day. You got to love the game. You got to have passion for it. You have to have fun. You have to be a part of it. You have to be a part of ups and downs. You go and I think there's a lot of opportunities for everyone here. But you have to go out there and really respect the game and be appreciative of the game and how hard it is to get to where you need to go. And there's a lot of good talent that I'm really looking forward to watching in the near future of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Thank you.
There's an emotional Pat Maroon after his last NHL game, and just like that, like magic, Mario Tirabassi is here, and he's joining us now from the United Center. Heard from Maroon. That's the only one we played so far, just so you're aware, Mario. But clearly lots of emotions in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the emotions, I mean, you could already kind of feel it from Maroon before the game today at morning skate. You know, it's always, you know, a big deal when anybody's career comes to an end, but a guy that is as beloved league-wide as Pat Maroon is, and what he's been able to accomplish and relationships he's built. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, is, you know, a throwback in the NHL, and just such a liked and respected guy. And you know, we didn't know officially what Alec Martinez what his future held, but he was put into the lineup. He was deemed healthy enough to play, and then just kind of the same way Pat Maroon did when they were on the road in St. Louis. Martinez spoke with Darren Pang on the pregame on CHSN and did the same thing. Broke the news that this was officially going to be, not only him retiring at the end of the year, but tonight was going to be his last game. So, two guys that between them, 6 Stanley Cups, thousands of NHL games played, thousands of professional games played at both the AHL and NHL levels, like guys that have seen and done it all in the league, and came into the team this year and had specific roles to play as longtime veterans, as guys that have seen and done everything. And as the year progressed and the locker room continued to get younger, their role was to keep instilling those lessons at the NHL level for the group coming in. So, really emotional for those two guys to, see their careers, their playing careers come to an end. But they're both in the same boat with newborns on the way within the week. So, they're not going to have a ton of time, I would think, to kind of sit with this all that much with new babies on the way. But it's incredible game for them to be sent out with. Unfortunately, they don't get the win, but just a whirlwind of a day for the team and for those guys specifically.
I know Martinez spoke too, and one thing that about Martinez, he hasn't talked a lot this year, at least as far as like post game stuff, to where there's a lot of video on him. But he's a very well spoken, thoughtful guy too. What did he have to say after his great career? 3 Stanley Cups. Did he finally talk about that 2014 goal?
No, couldn't get it out of him. But he was, again, very, very reflective on his time, and he was pretty, like you said, like he was pretty open and honest about the experience and kind of coming into this year, what he knew was pretty much going to be the last year for him. He said he thought maybe last season was going to be his last, but ended up, feeling like he had one more year left in him. Got an opportunity here in Chicago and couldn't pass it up. So, he commented on his injury history. Again, his family life is growing, and also mentioned a couple other personal things that have been going on that he said kind of played into the decision to basically make this officially his last season. So and like I said, with Maroon, him and Martinez, they've done it all. So it's interesting to think that tonight a guy like Pat Maroon, who's etched into history with the St. Louis Blues from St. Louis, and Alec Martinez, who's etched into LA Kings history at the unfortunate sake of the Blackhawks, both got standing ovations as Blackhawks at the United Center. Pretty interesting scenario, but awesome for those guys.
Yeah, they did include the Maroon winning the cup with the Blues in his.
Should have booed that.
Yeah, but they didn't put the Martinez goal in there for his tribute. But when you think about it, you go back to that 2014, Alec Martinez had a 10-day span, 2-week span for the ages, where he scored overtime Game 7 to win the Western Conference Final, and then a few days later scores in Game 5, I believe it was, or Game 6, the Stanley Cup clinching goal in overtime against the Rangers. Very similar plays too. Nick Leddy wasn't there to knock in the one in New York, but it's very similar type of play. But yeah, it was. They should have put it in there. Come on, that's what he's most known for.
Yeah,
who cares? True. It's been 11 years. Get over it.
I said it should have sounded like a file not found. for the. That would be one way
Have
to
the
do
spinning
it.
circle as he's like winding up. In a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah. Speaking of missed opportunities, we
just
were
like
talking about
redacted
this.
or something.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier in the show. Did Andrew say anything about using Maroon or Martinez in the shootout?
He did say that it was in their plans had it gone long enough. I thought if Kyle Connor was stopped, and so they would have had the 1-0 advantage going into the third round, I thought maybe Maroon would have been over the boards to clinch the game, but Kyle Connor scores, so then you have the rest of it plays out as it does. But he did say that it was in their plans to get those guys out there in the shootout, but just didn't come to fruition.
Man, Maroon would have between the legs, top shelf.
I would have loved it. He would have just done the Hossa power slap shot from the slot. Just said screw it.
Yeah,
He's got hands.
he does.
Had plans if it went longer. Yeah, don't we all? But yeah, they should have been 1 and 2. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Well, it's cool they did the first and second stars. Are you okay, by the way? Are you dying?
No, I'm fighting off a cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Yeah, I'm glad they did the number 2 and 1 star for Martinez and Maroon, though. That was, probably a little predictable, on brand for what the Hawks do. But I don't know. I think kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, for the Hawks fans to recognize the weight of those two guys' careers. And I don't know if you went through the 100 level and said, do you remember what Alec Martinez did to the Hawks? How many people would remember that?
No.
I don't think people really.
Some people might think he's the shortstop that booted that ball in Game 7.
Yeah,
against the Marlins.
It doesn't even matter. I think in a moment like that, you're so crushed as a fan, it doesn't even really register to you who scored. It's like the Hawks lost, and that's what you're dealing with in that moment. Right. But just a really classy job by Hawks fans to recognize, and especially there was more lead up with Maroon. People knew it was coming. So as soon as that tribute played, people were on their feet, which was cool. They did a great job, man. I don't know. I wasn't sure what to expect for those two because, they get announced before the games and it's tepid applause.
Right.
But people knew what was going on.
The Martinez, I don't think most people in the building knew that was it for him. Because he was announced in the starting lineup, and I remember being like, oh, he's going to get an ovation, and it was just not really. I don't think a lot of people knew at that time because I don't think the word had circulated about Martinez. Maroon, he was getting all the attention with the pregame ceremonies and everything. So it's funny. I wonder if Martinez knew, but maybe he didn't disclose it all that much because he either just didn't want the publicity or I don't know, maybe it was kind of coming right down to game time for him to make that decision. Because then I think, Jay, you in the first break of the second period, I think you were ready for oh, here comes the tribute video. But it wasn't until the third period that they did it. So maybe the video team had to kind of scramble at the end there. But no, it was a really well done by the Hawks. Whenever they have a situation like this, be it for Marian Hossa, Chris Chelios, or for Pat Maroon and Alec Martinez, they do a really good job with it. So hats off to them. And after the game, the Jets players all stayed on the ice after the shootout and shook both Maroon and Martinez's hands after the game, and congratulated them all on their careers ending and stuff. And then the Hawks players saluted the fans at the end of the game, and it was biggest crowd of the year. Waited till game 41 at the UC tonight to get the biggest crowd of the year, but they were treated to a very entertaining game, even in a loss.
All right, well, you're fighting it. We're going to let you go here. Anything we need to know before you go?
Anders was just really complimentary of a guy like Frank Nazar, who had a standout game tonight after the game. So it was, good to hear that is still going noticed, and he's getting a lot of opportunities. He's commented on the speed that Nazar has and how deceptive it can be to opponents. I don't think that's going to last very long. I think after what we saw from this, 50 games or so of what it's been for Nazar this year, I think it's pretty clear that speed is the most dangerous thing that he brings to the table right now. And I think teams are, as they scout the Blackhawks for next season, shouldn't be surprised by his speed come next season. But I mean, he had a bunch of chances on the penalty kill. Almost had one to open the scoring, and Nick Foligno 20 seconds later does basically the same thing. Connor Hellebuck, turned the puck over, and Foligno scores on that one. Him and Foligno again had a 2-on-1 chance. Like, Nazar was everywhere, and then he gets what was the go-ahead goal in the third period. Just a big moment, and he comes up big. So it was just a really great game from him. I mean, again, like I can't be too down on the overall effort from the group today. Like, they had a good opening period. They had to fight and come back and respond. They did. Spencer Knight was huge in overtime. He had, again, like, you give up 4 goals, you kind of squint at that and be like, but when you look at the numbers and you look at some of the chances he did save, he's the reason this game they even got to the shootout to have a chance for it. So, I'd say still a pretty, good effort from him in that. It was an entertaining one.
No doubt. All right, go home, feel better, get some rest, some Gatorade, some Pedialyte.
I'll be fine.
All right, we'll see you Monday.
See you guys Monday.
All right, that is Mario Tirabassi from the UC. Follow him on Twitter at Mario_Tirabassi. And he brought up Spencer Knight, and we should talk about Spencer Knight in this game because there were I think my groin fell off 2 or 3 times watching him in this game. He made some unreal saves.
Yeah, I mean, when the puck is in the lower half of the net, it's hard to get it by him.
Yes.
When you shoot high towards the glove side, you've got a little more luck there. Spencer Knight's still a very young goalie.
Yep.
Early in his career. He's never been the number 1 guy before. He's got a lot of stuff to work on, but you see the foundation there for him to be a number 1 goalie for a long time for this franchise. Oh, yeah. That's why they were excited to get him in the Seth Jones trade. That's why they had the Panthers had to give up Spencer Knight to get Seth Jones. This is a guy that's come from a championship organization, got to spend an entire season last year learning how to prepare for games and what it takes to be a pro from one of the best to ever do it. So, still raw and very young in his career. Still got a lot of things to work on. Everybody knows, shoot upstairs on Spencer Knight, you're going to have a better chance. So he's got to figure out how to start taking that away. And it's a pretty good thing that the Blackhawks have one of the best goaltending coaches in the league.
Yeah.
To spend an entire offseason in training camp with. He will improve on that. But be excited for Spencer Knight.
100%.
The fan base was just rejuvenated when that trade came through and it was Spencer Knight. Blackhawk fans were buzzing. That first start he had against the Kings
was outstanding
with
too.
44 saves, whatever it was. He got this. That was the beginning of the rejuvenation of this fan base. Because then after that, it was Artie Levshunov came up after that. Korchinski's there. Then it's Moore and it's Rinzel. But the start of that was that trade.
Yeah.
That really gave a boost in the arm.
It was a kick in the butt. Yeah. I mean, everyone loves Arvid Soderblom, but I think everyone knows that Soderblom is not will probably not be the goalie when the Hawks are making deep playoff runs. And much like we talk about with Connor Bedard, and like Bedard today said, there's things he has to work on, and he's going to, focus his off. He wasn't specific. He probably will be Thursday, which, by the way, as of now, we believe is the end of year press conference day. So everyone will speak. It'll be a huge show. So we'll give you more details as we get them. But just like Bedard knows he's got things to work on and is a workaholic, you got to drag the guy off the ice. Spencer Knight is very similar in that regard. Very serious, very committed to the craft, wants to be great, is not satisfied with what he is right now. And that's a guy who's going to put the work in and do everything he can do to get to the elite level. And look, he knows that the book's out on him too. And I think you've seen him in his time coming to Chicago that he has gotten a little better. He's not going down quite as soon. There was the one that hit him in the face today. but he's got that whole part of the net covered off, and he's got his shoulders at the crossbar. Like he is starting to get that lesson of, okay, if I'm going to be down, I need to cover more. I need to be more upright, instead of just crouched down and half the net's exposed. He's got Jimmy Waite, as you mentioned. Don't forget too, he's got Darren Pang in his ear every time after practice. They're right there. The goalies, Panger's always talking to the goalies. Yeah. So there's a wide base of knowledge for him to grab from in Chicago.
There's a difference from playing once every 5 games for the Panthers and playing 5 out of 6 games for the Blackhawks.
Well, you got to
there's more video on you.
Yeah.
There's more, people can figure out your tendencies a little better when there's, oh, okay, he's played 4 games in a row. He tends to do this. Video coaches, they're picking you apart. That's their job,
right?
It's harder to hide your weaknesses when you're playing every night, as opposed to if you're only out there once every 6 games playing behind one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Right.
It's a lot easier to cover your blemishes that way than playing for the Hawks. So I think it's Spencer Knight is a reason to be excited. Kyle Davidson's going about this the right way. He's building his team of the future from the net out.
Yeah.
Instead of the other way around. The defensive core, we've talked a lot about that. We're excited about that. Lots of good things defensively. It's only going to get better. Now you've got your goalie. You still got Drew Commesso, who has been really good since he came back from that injury.
Seems like a different dude too. Like,
well, if
personality's coming out a little bit.
If you read that, there was an interview he did with Scott Powers about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
really good stuff in there, talking about how was it Landon Slaggert was his roommate, and when he got called up, he was kind of like depressed because his buddy was gone, and it took him a little time. But then that sprained ankle that caused him to miss about 2 weeks, said it was the best thing that happened to him because he was able to kind of pull back and reset and then tackle it at a different angle, and he's been really good. So, the goaltending and the defense looks really good going forward for the Blackhawks, and that's
here's a brave stance, Sarah. You can mark the tape on this one. They're adding a top 6 forward this summer.
They have to.
They're getting at least one.
If it's not a free agent, they'll try and trade for one.
They will get one.
They're going to make a splash.
It might be a Brock Besser or Sam Bennett and not Mitch Marner, but they're going to get a top 6 winger.
Get all 3 of them. Who cares?
Sure, yeah, it's just money.
Get them all.
It's not my money.
Be the Dodgers of the NHL.
Right? Love that idea. And then
get rid of that pesky salary.
You're probably going to draft a forward.
Yes.
Who immediately becomes your?
I guarantee you, they draft at least one forward in June. Yes.
Well, I was saying with the lottery pick.
Well, you have 2 first-round picks again.
Yeah.
So you've got a ton of second-round picks. You've got an extra first-round pick next year. These are the things that are going to be used to either get the guy you want in the draft or get a guy on the trade market.
Yep.
Kyle Davidson.
He's always aggressive.
He is.
If he wants something, he does everything he can to get
tries, but it takes 2 sides to every trade.
I'm going to invent something right now. No one's ever said this.
Uh-oh. Again?
It takes 2 to tango.
What's a tango?
It's a dance. Sarah just made that up.
Okay.
Get that copywritten on a T-shirt for us, please. It takes 2 to tango. You guys can use that. Just credit me.
I look forward to getting that in 7 months on a T-shirt.
All right, we got a $2 super chat from DChan87. Who goes to Rockford after the season ends?
It will be the guys who are eligible. Colton Dock was sent down on trade deadline day and recalled, but it all depends on if he's healthy. I know he skated
getting
ahead.
there, but
he skated ahead of morning skate, so we'll see if they want to risk it.
Yeah, if they win around, maybe.
Yeah. The other guys who are eligible, Levshunov, Korchinski, I believe that is it, because Crevier was on the NHL roster on trade deadline day and was not one of those paper transactions, so he's ineligible.
Lazar is not.
Lazar's not. Slaggert is not.
Rinzel is not.
Rinzel is not. I'll see, but they signed after, but I doubt they will. They might be eligible because they weren't technically on the roster at all at the trade deadline.
That's true.
So, I mean, if Aiden Thompson can play, why can't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to do that. They may just be like, you've had a lot thrown at you in a
It's
short
been a
period
lot,
of time. Like, and plus, you don't want to make Frank Saravalli look stupid if Sam Rinzel's playing playoff hockey game at Rockford.
Yes. Good point. All right, we got to wrap things up. But first, the fourth star of the game. Bit of an upset. I did not see this one coming. I thought for sure it was going to Frank Nazar, but the star of the game is, with a goal and an assist, Connor Bedard. Now the Blackhawks franchise all-time leader in assists for a teenager with 81 on his career. So congrats to Connor Bedard on the achievement and on the 4-star nomination. Good game from him. Aggressive, attacking, what we want to see. Giggity said in the chat that he told the Canadian media specifically that he wants to get faster. So he must have seen my reel.
I think he's just been on the line with Oliver Moore and Frank Nazar going, I got to catch up to these guys.
Jesus.
I went from being the fastest guy on the team to being like the 5th fastest guy on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
The internet is calling me slow. I need to get faster.
The 240-pound reporter is calling me slow.
He's been getting, you
Talk about me, by the way.
You bullied him into
I did. I'm sure he just rage watches that that YouTube short. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. We are back Monday at post-game. Oh, we'll do pregame too. What time's the game Monday? I don't know.
6 o'clock.
So a half hour before the game. You guys know. And guess what that is? The expected debut of Ivan Demidov. So I'm calling in sick. I don't want to be part of that post-game show.
That would be the perfect night for Artem Levchinov to score his first NHL goal, wouldn't it?
And like a -4 for Demidov.
Off of Demidov's ass.
All right. We'll talk to everybody Monday night before and after Hawks and Habs right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.